Hi guys, in this video we're going to go over some questions in our chapter 8 quiz, so the cause of taxation. Now you're going to see a typical setup question like this. So the question give you information saying that the equilibrium price for computers was $1,080. Quantity was 215 after tax. Buyer pays a new price of 1280 and then seller receive a price of 920. Also, the new quantity is reduced to 170. Now, the question will be asked in different ways. So one way the question might be asking is for how much is the tax per computer. Now, to find a tax per computer, all you gotta do just take your, remember in your notes for chapter 8, you should have this. If you don't, the tax of any market equals to the buyer price, how much the buyer pays, minus the seller price. Now, the buyer price in this case is 1280, seller price is 920. So the tax for each computer, that will be 1280 minus 920. So the answer should be, what is 360. So that's your tax per computer. And then second question this might be asking for is how much is the total tax revenue for this market. Now to find the total tax revenue, just take your tax per item. So your tax revenue just take your tax per item times the quantity with tax. Now the tax per item we said is 360. The new quantity, which is 170. So let's see how much this is. Give me a calculator. $360 times 170. And that's going to be 61,200. So 61,200. Now the second two question you might see is the system will ask you how much was the tax for buyer. So the buyer tax, how much was the seller tax. Now any type of tax will be shared between buyer and sellers. So how much of the tax, the total tax of 61,200 will be paid by the buyer and how much will be paid by the seller. So to find this information, what you want to do, take your what the buyer pays now. So the new buyer price with tax. So buyer price minus the old equilibrium price. So how much extra did the buyer pay times the quantity of tax. There should be a Q, not a T. So how much extra did the buyer pay for each item they will buy times how many items they will buy with the tax? That's how much tax they will pay. Okay, so in this case here, the buyer price is 1280. The equilibrium price was 1080. The new quantity times 170. So there will be 200 times 170. Let me get my calculator out again. So 200 times 170. And the answer is 34,000. So 34,000 is how much tax the buyers are paying for. And then for the seller tax, this would be the take your equilibrium price. So how much was the seller getting back before the tax? Subtract the new seller tax, seller price, times the quantity of tax. So basically, we're looking for how much money less is the seller receiving with how much the new quantity is selling for. Okay, so so take your equilibrium price, which is 1080. That's how much they were getting before the tax. Subtract the new price they were getting back, 920, and times 170. So this would be with the 160 times 170. And the answer is 27,200. So 27,200. Okay. Now, one way to check your answer, if you take your buyer tax. So how much tax did the buyer pay, and then plus how much tax did the seller pay. That will equal to your total tax, right? So if you take your 34,000, adding up your 27,200, that will equal to your total tax of 61,200. Now the last question this might ask you is how much is your debt weight loss? So to find that weight loss, all you gotta do, just find out how much is the difference in your quantity. So take your old equilibrium quantity, subtract your new quantity, times the amount of tax per unit, and then divided by 2. So we're gonna do the old quantity was 215. New quantity is 170 times the tax per unit, which is 360, divided by 2. Let's see how much this is. Okay, where's my calculator? All right, so we're doing 215 minus 170 times 360 and divided by 2. So our debt weight loss will be 8,100. Or 810 or 8,100? 8,100. All right, so guys, this is how you answer this type of question on Chapter 8 quiz. Have any more questions, let me know. Okay, good luck. Bye-bye.